Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session. This is the oral session. This is the first the oral session on the large-scale environment and prediction. So I am a chairperson for this session, Ryuji Yoshida from Yokohama National University. We have the 8 presentations in this session. Each talk has 50 minutes, including the time for the question and discussions. And the timekeeper will use the bell sounds to signal the remaining time. The first bell is 10 minutes, and the second bell will ring the 12 minutes, and the third is 15 minutes. So please wrap up your presentation when you heard the second bell to keep the time for the questions. And also the next presenter will please come to the front, the left side of the front, for the preparation of your presentation. There is 2 HDMI connectors, so you can connect before your presentation. So please, preparation for the smooth changing. Okay, so let's start this session. The first presentation is the tropical cyclone characteristics over the Western North Pacific stratified by genesis environment, presented by the Professor Hironori Fudeyasu. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ryuji. So, Hironori Fudeyasu from TRC. So, title is Tropical Cyclone Characteristics over the Western North Pacific stratified by genesis environment. Background: a tropical cyclone forms under the large-scale environmental conditions favorable for cyclogenesis. A lot of studies have conducted research on the large-scale flow pattern leading to the cyclogenesis over the Western North Pacific. One of these studies, Richie Holland, statically investigated the large-scale flow pattern over the Western North Pacific and classified around 200 cyclogenesis cases into 5 large-scale flow patterns. So here is illustrated the 5 large-scale flow patterns. Monsoon shoreline, we call this environment S pattern or type S. And monsoon gyre type GG pattern. And the easterly wave related to the large synoptic scale tornado easterlies, E pattern. And confluence between the westerlies and tornado easterlies, E pattern. And the C pattern. And Rossby wave energy dispersion from the pre-existing cyclone, P pattern. And on the other hand, Wu and Yuchi-wan, the study, the size of the simulated tropical cyclone was mainly determined by the horizontal size of the initial large-scale flow circulation. So as working hypothesis, so differences in the large-scale flow pattern contributing the cyclogenesis could be considered key to the characteristic the resulting tropical cyclone, not only the genesis stage, but also the post-genesis stage. So the purpose of this study is to statistically investigate the characteristics of tropical cyclone stratified by 5 large-scale flow patterns defined by the Richie Holland. So we have the 2 parts. The first part is a tropical storm formation time and developing stage. And second part is a genesis stage. So methodology. So Yoshida Ishikawa developed the typhoon genesis score, TGS. TGS to objectively detect the 5 large-scale flow patterns. So here is the corresponding equations of TGS. I don't explain the TGS detail, but refer to this paper as detail. So we use the TGS here and the JTWC best track and the Japanese realized data to categorize the 5 large-scale flow patterns for the 874 cyclogenesis cases during the analysis period here. So we only focus on the tropical storm or typhoons, which reach the tropical storm intensity. Okay, so result. So these figures show the location of the tropical cyclones stratified 5 large-scale flow patterns. So and at the time, tropical storm formation time, when the TC reached a tropical storm intensity. So locations of TSF does not differ significantly among the 5 large-scale flow patterns. But in detail, look at the detail. So type G tend to occur on the western side of the western North Pacific, which correspond to the monsoon gyre. And this figure shows the distribution of the occurrence rate stratified by 5 patterns. The most frequent patterns is type S, with about 40%, and followed by the type C, type E, and type C, about 20%, E and C. And type P and type G accounted for about 10%. So this distribution of occurrence rate is similar to the previous studies. So next result is here, composite of the TBB distribution made with respect to the cyclone center at the TSF. So these numbers show the average storm size at the TSF, defined by the radius of 30 knots sustained wind. So we assume the difference between the average of each type and others using a t-test. And the larger number and smaller number than other type with a 5% significant levels are presented in the red color and blue color, respectively. So the storm size of the type G is about 20% larger than others. It means a big size of the cyclone at the TSF. Conversely, the type E and the type P have a smaller size. That's a small size cyclone. And this figure shows the occurrence rate of the rapid windification, Ry, defined by here. And the rapid windification occurrence rate means the occurrence number of Ry divided by the occurrence number of cyclone for each case. So occurrence rate of Ri for type G is smaller than others. That means type G experience Ri more rarely. Conversely, type C experience Ri frequently. So as a result shows a TC track stratified by large-scale flow patterns. So type E and type P tend to move to westward, but type C move to northward. And I'd like to, I investigate the occurrence rate of the tropical cyclones land for each country. So, for example, in Japan and the Philippines. So occurrence rate of the landfalling in Japan for type E is smaller than others, but type S and type C are larger than others. It means type S, type C frequently approach Japan, while the type E rarely does. So on the other hand, the type Philippines. So type P frequently approach the Philippines, but type C rarely does. Okay. So second part focus on the genesis stage. So the Japan Meteorological Agency developed a unique TC analysis technique, early stage topographic analysis, EDA. In the EDA, the T numbers 0.0 and 0.5 are added to the conventional topographic technique to make it possible to analyze a TD or rho in their genesis stage. Therefore, the EDA dataset included not only the tropical storms, but also the TD or rho that did not reach the tropical storm intensity. For example, so out of the 476 cyclogenesis cases, so during analysis period 9 years, so 45% for TD case, 55% were TD case. So we used this EDA data and the DGS and Japanese realized data to categorize all tropical cyclones, including the TD and the TS, into the 5 large-scale flow patterns. Okay, so this figure shows the distribution rate of the TS and the TD for 5 large-scale pattern. So the type C, the pattern C and pattern P have a larger number than others, about 50%. That means the pattern C and pattern P environments are favorable for TS development. So contrastly, type E shows a 35%, so lower than others. So that means the pattern E environment is unfavorable for TS development. So examine the environment conditions for TD and TS. So we observed a significant difference between TD and TS for atmospheric and oceanic environment parameters. So when analyzing the environment conditions individually, S pattern C, like this. So each has its unique features. For example, E pattern environment shows a difference in surrounding humidity only between the TD and TS. So it means that higher humidity is an important factor for TS development, while drier conditions often lead to suppress TS development in the environment related to the westerly, so trade easterly wind systems. So on the other hand, so S pattern and C pattern relate to the S pattern and G pattern relate to the monsoonal environment, shows a difference in the condition over the ocean only. But the type C pattern shows a difference in the vertical shear and lower tropospheric relative vorticity. Okay. So conclusion. So our results are schematically concluded here. So we statistically investigate the relationship between the 5 large-scale flow patterns contribute to the cyclogenesis and the characteristics of tropical cyclones. So here, so results relationship. So our result relationship provide important information for disaster prevention, especially trends for landfall in each country, and important factor for TS development here. Okay, so finally, the operation version of TGS we use for this study has been adapted by the Japan Meteorological Agency, and now currently stopped due to the system replacement from April this year. But now is currently available on the TRC website here. So finally, I want to emphasize that categorizing the 5 large-scale flow patterns and typhoon type before the typhoon forms could provide valuable information for disaster prevention. And not just for Japan, but for all East Asian countries. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the presentation. So now open for the questions for any question or comments. There.
Any seasonality for that?
Yeah, I have got it.
Also, how about
Of course. Sorry. Yeah, quite different. So related to that.
why such environment? Yes, you saw the characteristics in each category, but any reason or why such?
Yeah. So some reason I got. So, but another. So
yeah, maybe
everything.
precisely, maybe.
Yes, that's right.
But, yeah, you have some. Okay, thank you.
So any other questions, comments? No? Still we have the 3 minutes. Oh yes, please, Yamaguchi-san. Front of the. Okay.
This is not related to your work, but the next slide. What is Roborock? Sounds like a Dovolak. Is it some new technique to?
Yeah. So this one is cloud cluster that's reading the cyclogenesis automatically detected by the kind of the machine learning. So that's named Roborock. Yeah, so that's an application, but we made.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions or comments? If no, I'd like to move on to the next presenter. So thank you very much for the answer. Okay, so the next presentation is the speaker was